Come on in. We're good.
How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you.
We're good. I think we're good.
You said you were doing an individual thing?
Well, I'll just hold off on it. Yeah, but we'll figure it out. And I'll make sure that we're.
Let me make sure her mic sounds
Thank you for
good.
the water.
You're welcome, my friend. You are welcome. All right. Can you talk into that one?
Testing,
Yeah, you can
testing.
bring the
Hello,
mic to
testing.
where you're
Oh,
sitting
sweet.
comfortably.
Okay. I'm going to scoot in a little bit. Testing, testing.
Yeah, scoot in just a little bit. There you go. All right.
Testing, testing. Let's see. Right there?
Yeah,
Testing.
I would angle it back towards your mouth there.
Right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sweet.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
All right.
You're welcome.
Are rolling?
You're
We're
ready to
good.
roll.
We are. Thank you. Thanks, sir. Yep, we're good. How are you? Good to see you, my friend.
Good. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
I know it's hard sometimes to hustle and get places.
Yeah, it was a busy day, but a really good
Well,
day.
I'm
So
happy.
how are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah,
Good.
doing
awesome.
awesome. It's always
Thanks
good.
for getting. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
no. It says I appreciate your vibration. And
Oh.
they want us out of here close to 3.
Oh, okay.
I think someone else is coming in here, but
Oh, okay.
we'll be
This
all right.
is a new room. I like it.
Yeah, this is a new room. I got the thing zoomed in a little bit for us.
Nice. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm excited to have you here. I want to talk to you about the
Thank you.
brain and all kind of this
Yeah.
stuff. So
I'm excited about that.
I just wrote a few questions.
Okay, nice.
If someone wanted to sort of change their life, I guess you'd say, over the next few months, where would you tell them to start in the mind?
Yeah, I would tell them to start to just really paying attention to their thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and question their thoughts.
Okay.
Ask themselves if their thoughts are really theirs
All right.
or if they are someone else's voices in their heads.
Right.
And to become drastically aware of what you're thinking and drastically aware that your thoughts become your reality. So we have these little things inside our minds that are called ants. So they're automatic negative thoughts.
Okay.
And so often they are not thoughts of our future, because thoughts of our future, most of us have goals and most of us have things that we're working towards, and that gives us a lot of hope. But those ants are normally from our past. They're from past failures with relationships, with finances, with things that happen in our childhood.
Right.
And understand that we can question those thoughts and we can know that they're absolutely not ours. They're other voices in our heads from our
Right.
past and our voices from past experiences. And don't believe everything that we think.
Right.
Don't believe everything that you think,
Right.
because those thoughts are just getting chemical needs met in the brain.
Mm-hmm.
They're not your reality.
Right.
And so that's where I would tell someone the first place to start is by becoming hyper aware of what you're thinking, because your thinking will become your reality. And 95% of what you're thinking today and what I'm thinking today,
Right.
normally 95% of our thoughts are the exact same thoughts that we had yesterday and the day before that
Wow,
and the day
yeah.
before that and the day
Yeah.
before that.
I can see that.
And so until we start thinking differently, then we will just keep manifesting the same life that we've always lived.
Why does it seem like we focus more on negative thoughts than positive thoughts? Is there like a correlation that we have, like for every positive thought we have a negative thought? I try to stay positive. I don't ever say negative things to myself. But do you think the brain focuses more on like preserving something from happening bad as opposed to seeing opportunity or something like that? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I think it just depends on how we're wired.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like I said, a lot of our thoughts come from our past experiences. And a lot of times the reason we do have negative thoughts is because the brain wants certainty. The brain craves certainty above almost anything else because what's familiar, it perceives as safe.
Right.
And so if we predict, so first of all, let me back up a little bit and say, if we have had trauma in the past,
Mm-hmm.
if we have had things happen to us in the past that may have caused us to believe that we're not worthy,
Mm-hmm.
or we're not enough, or that
Right.
we'll never succeed, then that creates wiring in the brain that will keep us stuck or keep us telling ourselves the same story. And when we tell ourselves that same story, then that gives our brain certainty. And so lots of times we'll be doing something in our lives, things will be going really great with finances, with our career and parenting, with relationships. And our brain will come up with negative thoughts about our future. And we do this all subconsciously, of course.
Right.
It'll come up with negative thoughts about our future because we don't want to be caught off guard, because we want that control, we want that certainty.
Got it.
But it's only because we've been wired for that. It's only because maybe when we were a child, then we, like I said, had trauma in the past that taught us, well, things never work out for me.
Right.
I'm always picked last.
Right.
I'm always, messing up or whatever. But now that we're adults, we have that capability and we have that privilege to decide what we think. And so we can be wired for negative thoughts, or we can be wired for positive thoughts. So for example, yeah, this experience is hard, but life is happening for me, not to me.
Right.
Yeah, this experience is hard, but I know deep down that God has my back. I know that things will always work out. I know that this is bringing me to greater blessings.
Right.
And so it's literally just how we learn to wire our brains, how we train our brain. And at first it might be like, we might hear voices that say, well, this isn't us. This, nobody in my family does this. Things never work out for me
Right.
or for my family. But the more we shut off those voices and the more we realize, okay, those are just ants. They're automatic negative thoughts. They're
Right.
not mine. They're not real. And we rewire our brain to think of the positive thoughts, we will start automatically going to
Right.
those positive thoughts
Right.
and anticipating positivity for our lives.
No, I believe that, and I have a thing where I never say anything self-deprecating about myself because I don't want to. I'm not going to allow that in my brain. So
Nice.
I don't even joke around with it.
Awesome.
Why do you think we procrastinate and do avoid stuff that we know we should do?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think that we do that because of a lot of fear. I think staying in a familiar hard, I think staying in a familiar hard is easier for our brains than an unfamiliar success, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so Tony Robbins says that it's either fear of success or fear of failure. And I would say most of the time it's fear of success because of those voices, again, in our heads that say, this isn't you. What if you do make that $1 million? What if you do have that dream relationship? What if you do, get that house or that job or whatever?
Right.
And if we haven't identified ourselves as that person, if that hasn't already become our reality in our minds and that's not our identity, then we will self-sabotage every time. And we will procrastinate every time.
Right.
Because it's that fear of us becoming powerful. It's that fear of us walking into our true potential.
Right.
And so
I agree.
I think it's that fear of either failure and I'll be judged for that failure and I'll be seen as less than, or wow, I could actually get that and that would feel super unfamiliar to who I perceive that I really am.
Right. Right. No, that's awesome. Let's see. Do you know about the RAS, the reticular activation system? What are your thoughts on that? Can you explain that or talk about that, or at least tell us how we can be aware of it and then use it to improve our lives, or at least not take away from our lives?
Yeah. So the RAS is like a self-fulfilling prophecy machine in our brains. And whatever we focus on,
Mhm.
it will very much bring into our reality.
Right.
So the RAS is a part of our brains that gives attention to whatever we decide to focus on. And it is very good at filtering out those things that it perceives as unimportant.
Mhm.
So it's like the minute we decide, okay, say somebody's always wanted a green car, and they decide, okay, I am going to, in the very near future, set out to get a green car. I don't know
Right.
what kind of car I want. I just know I want it to be green.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, they start seeing green cars everywhere. They
Right.
start seeing them, when they're in the store parking lot. They see them clear over on the other side of the freeway.
Right.
And it's because they are focused on that.
Mhm.
And so whatever we focus on, then the RES will bring into our reality.
Right.
And so if we are focused on success, if we're focused on obtaining our goals and who we get to become in the process, even if obtaining our goals, getting to them and being on that journey is difficult, then if our RES, or if we are focused on, okay, I know this is difficult, but again, things are happening for me. This block in the road is only for me. This no that I got is only for me.
Right.
Then our RES will pick it out and perceive it as important information that is getting us to our goals.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'd love to talk about the RES.
Yeah, it's crazy because we have these flips too. Like I made a reel the other day. I don't know if you saw it, but it's about how the RAS flips on things or people, and we see things as great. We see it put somebody in a halo effect, and our RAS is like, wait a minute. Now that I think about it, they're not that great. And then we can be objective. If we try to be our higher selves, we can be like, well, actually, that person did do a lot of good things for me, or they weren't. It's just in our minds it's just very interesting. It's like the whole green car thing. Sometimes you start noticing things and you can't stop.
Yeah,
So
it all just depends on what we decide to focus on. What we bring into our focus is
Right.
our reality.
Right. What's one daily thing that has the biggest impact on brain health and mental performance that you think? Like, what's one thing that's helped you, or do you think would help mass amounts of people? What's one habit, I guess you'd say?
Yeah, I think to get control of your hour of power in the morning. So the hour when you first wake up in the morning,
Right.
and equally as important too, that maybe we don't talk about as much, is the hour right before we go to sleep. And so I think that those are the two most important things. There's a saying that goes, if you can control the hour when you first wake up in the morning and then the hour right before you go to bed, then you have so much more leverage on the time in between that,
Right.
what happens in between that.
Right.
And so I listened to a near-death experience that this gentleman had one time, and whether you believe in those or not, he just had this really cool experience that he died for a little while, went on to the other side, and his guide showed him our subconscious minds when we are first waking up in the morning,
Right.
and our subconscious minds when we're falling asleep, when we're
Right.
in that theta state.
Right.
And the guide actually called it the hour of power. And so it's sort of like when the first thing you put into your stomach in the
Right.
morning, when
Right.
you break your fast from
Right.
sleeping all night and not
Right.
eating, that's what's going to be the most readily absorbed.
Wow.
And so it's the same with our minds. Whatever we put into our minds first thing in the morning, especially as we're coming out of sleep, especially that theta state, when we know that we're just starting to wake up, you can ask yourself some really powerful questions. And normally when people are first waking up, the first thing they do is they start thinking about their problems. They start thinking about their to-do lists. They start thinking about a hard conversation or
Right.
something that happened the night before.
Right.
And so what do? We'll reach over, and in order to mask that or escape from that, we'll reach over and grab our phones.
Right.
And we start looking at other people's lives and other people's problems.
Right. Right.
But you can ask yourself some really powerful questions when you first wake up in the morning to get a hold of your day
Right.
and set the tone for the rest of your day, such as, what am I excited for today?
Right.
Even if it's the smallest thing, I'm excited to, walk out on the porch and see my cat, or I'm excited, even if it's just the smallest thing, I'm excited to get in my car and maybe I could play my favorite song. But most powerful of all is, what am I most grateful for today? And even if it's the smallest thing, I am so grateful for my children. I am so grateful for my friends. I am so grateful that I had a warm bed to sleep in last night.
Right.
I am so grateful that I have a job.
Right.
You know, just the smallest things. I think that when you first wake up in the morning, and again, when you go to bed at night, what am I grateful for about this day?
Right.
What is one thing that went really, really good today? And you get a hold of those 2 time slots in your day, and then what happens in between those 2 time slots will be just so much more effective in becoming who we really want to be.
Right. No, that's awesome. I love that theta state. I haven't thought about that. The theta state of, because I've heard that before too. Like right when you're falling asleep, things get in your head, and then as you wake up and stuff. That's why you can wake up. Like if something wakes you up in the middle of the night, you wake up almost angry. You know, you don't even know why. You know, because something. Not like you're physically angry at anything, but like your heart's racing and stuff. You're like you're in a state of alert or something.
Yeah.
You're in that theta state.
Yeah, and what's so interesting is, just real quick, if you start programming your brain right before you go to bed at night, and again, this isn't something that we focus on so much because a lot is talked about what we do first thing in the morning, but if we start focusing on what is good about our lives and what was good about our day, and reprogramming our brain right before we go to bed at night, our brain will actually start reprogramming itself in our sleep.
Wow.
And that's happened to me before, where I have had dreams.
Yeah.
And I have subconsciously thought about scenarios in my sleep that I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, that problem's solved.
Right.
I know what I'm going to do now. And so the brain is just so automatic. And
Right.
again, it's just how we choose to train it.
Right. No, that's awesome. How many hours of sleep do you get a night?
It varies.
Yeah.
I aim for 7.
Yeah.
So, it varies. I usually get between 6 and 8.
Yeah. Do you sleep in a dark room?
I do. I try to keep it as dark and as cold as possible.
Do you use a noise machine, or do you?
Sometimes it depends on if I go to bed earlier than my kids and I know that there's still some
Right.
rustling around going in the
Right.
house, then I'll
Right.
put on some pink noise or some
Right.
brown noise. But most of the time, it's very quiet.
And why is pink or brown better than like white noise? There's a
So-
theory behind that. I know there is, right?
Yeah, to me, it just sounds softer.
Okay.
Like I particularly really enjoy brown noise.
Okay.
And to me, it sounds like when, if you've ever watched, and I'm sure you have, like watched a wave come up on the beach and then it just slowly goes back and you see the little bits of sand
Right.
just sparkle and come into the sun
Right.
and the water's just slowly going back into the ocean.
Right.
Like that's what brown noise sounds to me, is just those little trickles of sand.
What
just going
exactly?
back.
What is brown noise exactly?
So it's kind of the same as white noise and
But
pink
different.
noise.
I've heard of brown noise. Yeah.
Yeah, so it and I knew this better at one point, but it actually stimulates the brain to go into a more theta state
Yeah.
and
fine.
to go to a more relaxed
Right.
and
It's optimal. for-
relaxed state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's optimal for sleep. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to. So what has raising 9 children changed the way you think about human behavior and brain, I guess, development, or so on and so forth?
Yeah.
If there has been anything.
Yeah, that we just all come so differently.
Mhm.
We just all come in our own package and just
Right.
so different. And I used to think that people were just all a certain way depending on the environment they were raised in,
Right.
depending on the family they came from, the culture they came
Right.
from. And just having so many kids and just seeing how, even though they were all raised in the same environment, just how their personalities are so different.
Right.
And I remember particularly my now 11-year-old son when he was a baby. And he was just so different from any of my other kids. And he was my 8th child.
Right.
And I remember as a baby, I just didn't even know what to do with him. And I remember telling my then husband that, oh, this is the kid that's going to bring in the last of our gray hairs.
Wow.
Because he was just so different from the other
Right.
kids. And now he's literally like one of my best friends.
Right.
And what really, the turning point for me with our relationship, his and mine is when I realized that he came as his own person.
Okay.
And I could either fight that
Right.
or I could embrace that and learn to appreciate the aspects of his personality that were
Right.
different from mine.
Right.
And I remember one time I read his zodiac sign and the different personality traits
Uh-huh.
to his particular sign.
Right.
And I don't place a lot of emphasis
Right.
on those, but
Right.
some of those things are accurate and they are
Right.
kind of fun to just
Mhm.
play around
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
But I remember when I read how his personality was, and at the time he was maybe like 2 years old,
Mhm.
and I was like, that is so him. Oh my goodness, that is so him. And he came this way.
Mhm.
And I have been almost kind of resenting those little personality traits the whole
Right.
time.
Right.
And once I learned to embrace those things that were different in his personality and
Right.
in his thinking and in his mindset that were different than mine, and actually learn from those things
Right.
and to or to go towards what I
Right.
could learn
Mhm.
from him, then our relationship just got so much better.
Good.
And the older he's got, I've even seen how he is so much different from me.
Uh-huh.
But I appreciate those differences now.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, his brain it operates on a whole different wavelength than
Mhm.
mine. But I can learn so much from him.
Right.
So
No, that's awesome. And I've seen you engage with your kids. I told you that last time, but it's true. I like watching you engage with your children.
oh, thank you.
What's the line between raising independent kids without being like overprotective? What lessons have you learned about like maybe not overprotecting, but also pushing for independence, but also being there to help your children as they evolve in life and things?
Yeah. I love to teach them to listen to their own inner guidance system. And I can offer them insight into the experiences that I've had
Right.
personally in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I like to teach them or encourage them to listen to what's going on here.
Right.
And I tell them, we are all created in God's image.
Mm.
And if he created us in his image,
Right.
then we are also creators. And I love to teach them that they are the creators of their own life experiences.
Got it.
No one is a victim. We have all had different, maybe challenging experiences,
Mm-hmm.
but how we perceive those experiences and what we gain from those is ultimately our decision. And so, I'm not always going to be around to tell my kids what to do.
Right.
And they're going to grow up and go off, and many of them have.
Right.
And I want them to be very independent in their thinking and to keep that connection between their creator
Mm-hmm.
and themselves and what's going on in their brain and in their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of wisdom that we can gain from others. I'm not dismissing that
Right.
and from their experiences. But there's so much subconscious programming that goes on
Right.
Regarding what our lives should look like, that I want them to be super aware of just feeling into what is right for them and their path and their purpose.
Right.
Because again, it is so individual for each of us.
Right. That's awesome. I love that. No, that's awesome. You have a lot of experience with. Would you like to live forever if you could on Earth? Would you like to, if someone could let you live forever, would you live forever? Like Brian Johnson, Brian Johnson, the guy who's trying to live forever.
Yeah. Yes, I'm familiar with him. Yeah. So I think if I could help a lot of people, I would love to live forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if I could constantly be evolving
Right.
and constantly be gaining experience and knowledge from that experience, and as long as I could really help others on this
Mhm.
path, I mean, my ultimate dream is to become an angel
Really.
in heaven that is
Okay.
able to help other people. But
That's
if I could do it on this earth,
Yeah.
that would be really cool too.
That's cool.
So,
No, I wouldn't mind dying. I wouldn't mind not dying either. I know some people are like, I don't want to live forever. I'm like, it's worth a shot. I mean, I'd like to live a few thousand years. That'd be kind of fun.
yeah.
Like a million years. You get pretty good at life if you could like keep your body the way it is now and live like a million years. You get really good towards the last 999,000.
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Mhm.
And all the insight you could offer others,
Mhm.
that would be really cool.
What's what do you think? How does the brain influence like happiness, purpose, fulfillment? How does the brain influence that? Do you think? I mean, I know it does, but if you had to say, how do you think the brain influences those things?
Yeah, our
Even just
perception
happiness. Yeah.
our
Yeah.
perception is everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we can decide to be happy in some really tough circumstances.
Right.
The Apostle Paul, when he was in prison,
Mm-hmm.
then he talks about the peace that he has found. In the scriptures, it talks about, the peace that surpasses all understanding. Viktor Frankl,
Mm-hmm.
The author of
Yeah.
Man's Search for Meaning,
Right.
he talks about being imprisoned in the prison camps. And the only thing that kept him surviving was his mind
Mm.
and his perception. And so we can view life however we choose. We can have $1 million and be in the nicest resort in the ocean and, have all the luxuries of life and still be completely miserable.
Right.
Or we can live in a humble little cottage and forage for food. And I've never had to do that.
Right.
But I've also been in some really stressful situations, as I'm sure you have and
Sure.
other people have, and have felt completely fulfilled
Mm-hmm.
in my life.
Right.
And it's all how we choose to perceive things.
Right. It is. It's so true.
And it's our thoughts. Again, it is our thoughts and being hyper aware of what we're thinking and realizing that when we do get those automatic negative thoughts, they're not us. They're not who we truly are at the core.
Right.
They are from another experience or someone else's voice.
Right.
But it's not our inner, who we are, our authentic selves, and who we are at the core, which is love and hope and
Right.
peace.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Things don't have a meaning until we give them one, but it's hard to.
Yeah.
But yes, everything that you frame in your brain, you can. How do you think I think personal responsibility is very important. Just like taking ownership for everything that happens in your life. Do you think that changes the way you operate? If you can just be like, okay, I'm responsible for everything in my life, even the things that like are the external. Like if a meteoroid comes and hits the earth, I'm still responsible for my own survival. That kind of radical ownership, I guess you'd say. Do you resonate with that? How would you rationalize that statement, or how does that reconcile in your own brain?
Yeah, so I think that we are responsible, and we do hold responsibility for our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So we may not be able to control if something comes out of the sky and
Right.
hits our backyard and creates
Right.
a huge hole in our backyard.
Right.
But we can control our response.
Right.
I know of a lady who was in a car with her 2 kids, and they got in an accident on the freeway, and their car rolled 3 times off the freeway. Thankfully, everybody was okay. They were all in seatbelts. But she turned and looked at the other kids, or looked at her kids, and the first thing she said was, "Whoa, that was funner than a ride at Disneyland."
Right.
And so, what kind of trauma are those kids not going to have
Right.
because of her response?
Right.
And
true.
so we can't always control or be responsible what happens to us, but we can control our response. And so many times, we talk about a trauma response to something, or we talk about trauma that we've had in our lives and in our past.
Yes.
And so many times the trauma isn't created by the thing, but it's created by our response to the thing,
Mm-hmm.
or it's created by the response that we saw our parents or other people have
Right.
to the thing. And I'm not, dissing
Yeah.
on our parents or anything
Yeah.
like that. They all did the best that they could.
Right.
But even, you'll see a child that fell off their bike, and a parent will say, "Oh, you're okay, jump back up. That happens all the time." And so failing or falling off is no big deal to the child.
Right.
But you have another parent where a child falls off their bike, and the parent's like, "Oh my heck, are you okay? I know that was so scary, wasn't it? Oh, are you bleeding?" And they'll make a big deal about it. And then in the child's brain, they're thinking,
Mhm.
"Oh, falling off a bike is really bad. That's
Right.
really dangerous. I could have been hurt or worse."
Right.
And so we are not always responsible for everything that happens in the world,
Right.
but we are responsible for our emotions
Yeah.
that we hold around
Mhm.
it. And again, others are watching, our kids are watching, our friends are watching. And it's just, we saw it during COVID.
Mhm.
So many people, COVID was the worst thing that ever happened to them
Yeah.
because of their response to it. And then other people, I especially saw this in the elderly,
Uh-huh.
they were like, you know what, this will come and go.
Right.
It's stuff like this has always happened throughout the history of the world.
Right.
And COVID wasn't as traumatic for them. So
Right.
it's the same with
Yeah.
almost everything.
COVID wasn't traumatic for me either. I got to work a lot because people were not working, and then you made a little extra money, and of course that was all inflation money. I mean, yeah, it was. I went to a stage where I was purposely trying to catch COVID, and I never did.
Whoa, isn't
Yeah.
that crazy?
I was like going maskless, and
Yeah.
I was like hugging people, and I didn't care. I was going all in. I did not mind catching COVID, and it seemed like I failed in my attempts to do so.
Isn't that crazy? You
Yeah.
didn't have the fear because fear suppresses the immune system.
Mm-hmm.
And when we lean into the hard thing and we lean into that thing that scares us, it no longer scares us.
Right.
And we don't create that vibration.
Right.
And so we don't attract it.
I've never been vaccinated either. Have you ever been? Did you ever get vaxxed?
No,
I mean, God, who would? I mean,
thank goodness.
now were they on like the 12th round of boosters?
Yeah.
Now it just went away. Where did COVID go? I don't want to get negative, but where did it go? Like why was it there and so important and pressing? And then if no one's getting boosted anymore, I understand we have immunity to a degree for natural immunity, but why didn't we just do it the whole time that way?
Yeah, I think that we can open a can of worms with this one, but it was
Wonder.
definitely, in my perception, it was definitely a test for society. I mean, I got COVID, and yeah, I was pretty sick for a couple of weeks. I even had long COVID. Like to this day, I don't smell as
Really?
well as I used to. I don't taste as well as I used to. Is it the end of the world?
Right.
Not really. So I do acknowledge that COVID was a real sickness, a real disease. If you want to go down the rabbit hole of where it came from and all of that, we could do that another time. But I think that it definitely was a test for the world to measure how well we would comply, to measure kind of where we were all at on what we would stand up for and what we would allow,
Right.
and how quickly we would perceive things as being normal, the new normal
Yeah.
that everyone talked about.
Yeah.
Like, that's just my perception of
And-
what COVID was.
Right.
And once that need was met of, okay, we see what people will do, we see how far they will go, how far we can push them, it just went away.
It was like over a year and a half later, they were still putting mask mandates on, shutting schools down. It was like they kept trying to replay it until it was
Yeah.
politically hazardous, and they just shut it all off.
Right.
It's like just turn it off.
Exactly.
It's never happened.
It's not a problem anymore.
That
Yeah,
was
it's so
crazy.
interesting. And I'm with you. Like, I didn't wear a mask. I
Mhm.
got kicked out of stores. I got kicked out of restaurants.
Mhm.
I was told that I could only order out in the parking lot. I wasn't allowed to come order inside.
Right.
There was this one particular time where I was flying with my friend to DC,
Mhm.
and it was at a time where you could not fly if you didn't wear a mask. Like, you were not allowed on the plane without a mask. You weren't allowed through security. And up to that point, I had not put on a mask for anything. And I did not want to wear a mask. I was like, no, I don't want to participate in something that,
Yeah.
if the science made sense, I would
Right.
have done it.
Right.
But where the science just did not make sense,
Right.
for my critical brain and for my spirit to
No.
go along with that, with
No.
something that I knew was ultimately untrue, and to
Right.
pretend,
Right.
I just couldn't do it. And so there was this one time when I was flying with my friend out to DC, and I prayed so hard for protection, and I know that I was blessed. Like, I know that it could have easily gone the other way, but I walked through a whole airport, through security. I got on a plane. My friend was right in front of me, and she had a bandana for a mask. And the flight attendant, as she got on the plane, then she said, "Ma'am, you need to pull that up." And so my friend pulled her bandana up, and I walked right behind her with no mask, and I had a connecting flight. And so that day, I walked through 2 airports, through 2 securities.
What part of the year was this? What part of the year? Like what did you know the time frame of this? Was this like 21? Was this later?
So this was in January. I believe that it was January of 21.
So the lesson is if you're trying to comply, they'll make you comply more. If you don't comply at all, they're just not going to mess with you.
I don't know. I think that I was just protected. I
Yeah.
think for some reason I just, they never stopped me, and I was able to fly and get to where we were going
Right.
safely without any harassment. So, but yeah, it was a very interesting time to be alive, and I'm so grateful for that experience. It taught
Yeah.
me a lot. So
Yeah, they took our economy and flushed it down the toilet with shutting businesses down. So the government shut down businesses, and then to pay those businesses, they did like a bunch of government spending, which is the most counterproductive. That was Donald Trump was
Yeah.
one of the who signed that first COVID. I don't want to get low vibe. By the way, I think the Democrats are as bad or worse than him. The Democratic Socialist movement now, I mean, we're going to give all the power to the Democrats, it looks like, and they're just very much socialist, and it's scary, just the whole thing. I mean, it's not even scary. Whatever's going to happen, I can prepare for and handle.
yeah.
You know, I'm political. You know, I'm running for Congress. I try. This is
Right.
more low vibe. I try not to be this way. I try not to give into the, let's see.
Yeah.
How,
Amazing time to be alive, though.
I know
isn't
it. I know it. The
So
country
many
needs
cool
to.
things.
I hope the country splits up. We need a succession movement is what we need. And
That
like,
would be amazing.
yes, it would be. It really would be.
Mm.
How does confidence develop in the brain? Is it like keeping promises to yourself? Is it seeing yourself do hard things? You hear those things. How do you think
Definitely.
confidence is developed in the brain?
So yes and yes.
Mhm.
So doing hard things. So again, we talked about this last time. So strengthening that part of your brain, the mid-cingulate cortex, that it's literally a muscle, or it's this little part of the brain. It's like a muscle. And so when we do hard things, when we, I don't like to use the word force because we always have a choice, right?
Right.
But when we allow ourselves to get in the cold shower, the cold plunge, when we choose the veggies over maybe the fried foods,
Right.
or when we have that hard conversation, or, you know, when we do something that is against our comfort,
Right.
then that part of the brain strengthens, and it actually grows. It actually gets bigger, just
Right.
like a muscle.
Right.
And that improves our confidence. And then also, just like you said, when we keep our word to ourselves, which is the most important person that we can keep our
Mhm.
word to. When we, again, the night before, when we're going to bed, we say, okay, in the morning, I'm going to get up. I'm not going to hit the snooze. I want to get up. I want to get sunshine in my eyes. I want to exercise. I want to write down my goals for the day.
Right.
And when we keep our word to ourselves, that creates a positive feedback loop
Right.
in our brain. Again, our brain is conditioned for that specific wiring.
Right.
It creates that neural pathway in the
Mhm.
brain so that the next time it actually becomes easier.
Got it.
And at first, it's not about motivation. At first, we may not be motivated. In fact, most of the time, it may start out as motivation, but motivation fades.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the saying that says, so goals are not promises, they are commitments.
Right.
And when we keep those commitments to ourselves, when we show up daily and we do the thing, whether we are motivated or not,
Right.
that will eventually get us to our goal.
Got it. What do you think about like the new culture of America? Like, are your children having a hard time finding partners, and the ones who are adults and who are out in the world? What do you what is your thoughts on that? Do you have any?
Oh, it's so much different from when we were kids and when we were teenagers. So luckily, my two oldest,
Are they boys or girls?
my two oldest boys,
Wow.
they did find partners, and they gave me grandkids. I'm so blessed. I see this rising generation just having so much at their fingertips without hardly any effort.
Mhm.
So you remember when we were kids, when we were teenagers, we were so excited to get our driver's licenses. We were so excited to get our first job.
Sure.
We were excited to meet friends after work or after school
Right.
because it required an action to get the reward. It required us to go out and do the thing, to talk to people
Right.
face to face, to be in a room with others. And now with our smartphones, we get such instant gratification. We get relationships, we get connection, what we perceive as connection, and yet
Right.
this generation is the loneliest generation that's coming
Right.
up because it's false connection,
Right.
as you know. When we're sitting in a room with someone like this talking
Right.
and we're actually in each other's space,
Right.
that creates a vibration that is just so much more fulfilling than just texting someone. In fact, texting causes stress. And I can't remember if we talked about this last time or not, but there was a study that was done out of, I believe it was Stanford University, where they took 2 groups of girls. And the girls, during the day, they had a stressful school test. And after the test, half of the girls were told to call their moms, and half of the girls were told to text their moms. And the girls that texted their moms, their cortisol actually rose even after the stressful test. But the girls that actually called their moms and created that connection through voice tone,
Right.
through talking, through emotion, then their cortisol levels actually dropped.
Right.
And their nervous system actually came
Yeah.
back to baseline.
Yeah.
But it's just so different now with the generation that's coming up, that they have so much instant gratification with their phones. They can get food delivered right to their door. They can see almost any part of the world that they want to see through their phone. Talk to anyone, especially with AI. You don't even need to think for yourself anymore. You know, and I talked earlier about the inner guidance system and how that guides us and how that is so crucial
Right.
for listening to find out our true purpose.
Right.
And now you can just pull out your phone and ask AI what to think.
There's a lot of people who think like in 100 years, the humans are going to be having like AI robots. It's going to be people that look and feel like me and you, but they're robots, and they just comply to our every will and demand, and that would pretty much bust the human birth rate up right there, because
Yeah.
you can have a robot.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this, again, with this rising generation, at least with my kids, with my younger kids, one positive thing that I am seeing is when I'm scrolling on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, and they see a person come up that's in a video, and they perceive at all, when my kids perceive at all that it's AI, they don't want to watch it. They say, "Mom, that's AI.
Right.
Let's scroll on."
Right.
And I'm an 80s kid, so
Right.
I'm like, whoa, but it's so cool. Like they look really
Right,
real, and they
right.
sound really real, and the scenery is amazing.
Right.
But my kids are like, it's fake. Why would you want to watch that?
Right.
And so I'm hoping that even though they have so much instant gratification, I'm hoping that they will also value and gravitate what is real, what is more real than even our generation does. Because we're the generation that, the internet was born when we were in young adulthood.
Right.
And that was just so incredible to us
Right.
that it's almost like we were mesmerized by it. But I'm hoping that this generation coming up will, since they've already had internet, they've had so much, that now when they see something fake, I'm really hoping that they will start to value what's real. I'm hoping.
Did you tell me one of your ancestors was a bodyguard for Joseph Smith? That was you told me that.
Yes.
And one of your,
Yeah.
because we have a couple of fans that watch the show, and one of them looked up the name of the person that you said, and they were on the Pilgrim voyage over.
Yeah.
So they looked it up and then left a message about that.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
they were.
So
Yeah. Some great
so-
ancestors.
I feel like that's amazing. I'm thinking about arm wrestling you too. I may do it.
Oh, should we do it?
We can. I mean, can we do it right here?
Is this the part that gets edited if I lose? This is so funny. Okay.
I mean, I'll give you a little. I mean, it's hard.
Should I move
don't know if
this?
this is real ability here. I'm also
I'm
wearing
gonna
a jacket.
just go. Okay,
Okay.
I have to scoot in. Okay, I don't
Do
know.
you really win all the time? Don't be like that. Don't.
So since I talked to you, I arm wrestled another person and
you didn't
they
win?
beat me. So I've
Okay.
only arm wrestled half the guys that I've arm wrestled.
Oh boy.
Okay, you're gonna keep this part of the show.
I don't. You get my thumb. I can't do that.
Why? Why? You can get my thumb if you want.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like
You're
I feel like
totally
it's
gonna
your
win.
grip.
You're totally gonna get me.
I don't know. I'm not, okay.
Wait, can we hold on to the table? Or what are
No.
the rules here? Okay.
Let's just
I'm
do
gonna
it. Okay.
scoot it up. All right.
3,
2.
2, 1. There's no way.
Oh, you're so good.
I don't want to hurt you. I'm sorry.
You're so good. Good job.
Well, thank you. I mean, I've
Good
I've
job,
always had-
Taylor.
always been able to have strong upper body
Nice.
because I work out, and it seems like my upper body always responds well to.
Do you
I was-
arm wrestle all your female guests?
No, no. I try not
That's
to.
fun.
People ask me about my female guests sometimes. I try not to. I don't say anything about any of that.
Good
but
job.
but yeah, I feel like I'm not, I don't know. I don't think I'm anything. But like I always lift weights, and
Nice.
I've always my genetics are. I think I had a good. Somebody was I mean there are some brutal murderers in all of our genetics. So, yeah. But
Good
I knew I think I have a because I just
So you have good upper body strength.
yes I
and
do.
you work on it.
I do. Yeah.
So
yeah,
nice. And
yeah.
it's paid off.
I think so. I mean, I think it's just so I do lift, but I also think it's just natural. Like my ancestors had that big upper body strength.
Really?
Yeah, they had somebody. My grandfather was big guys. They had big arms, big hands.
Okay.
There's some because back in the day we had to. It's the only way you could survive, man. That's why we're big.
So true. Yeah,
you had
having
to be
good
big.
genetics is so awesome.
Well, and also people were coming at you and trying to punch you, and you had to fight them off. And
Did that happen in your lifetime growing up?
I've definitely been punched before and stuff, but
You definitely have been punched
Mhm.
before?
yeah,
Dang.
just growing
Like
up.
as a
and-
kid?
I mean, I had little skirmishes and stuff. I wasn't really that big of a fighter, but that growing up in the South, it's such a different culture. You pretty much everybody fights and stuff. It's
Did
just
you mostly win?
I don't even remember them, to be honest with you. I don't even remember. I remember just skirmishes, and stuff like that. My dad we didn't take pride in fighting and stuff, So
Okay.
he tried to teach our brains and do things like that. But
Awesome.
it's just a different culture in the South. I grew up in the deep South, way at the very bottom of Alabama.
Wow.
So it's very much like you always have to fight. You always have to. It's a throwback to like a different age,
Dang.
so, yeah.
If
So
you
it's a lot like Utah in a way because it's very conservative, like socially and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's. I feel like Utah's changing now. Also, Mobile. It's just different, It's that southern. The Scots Irish went down there, and they were like from the Highlands in England, and
Mhm.
that's they were known as the rednecks, and that's where that term came from. It came from England actually, because they were like the hillbillies of England,
Oh wow.
and a lot of those. And I've got normal English, like pure blood English too, but I'm also got the Scots Irish because they mix together.
Okay.
So I mean, we're all talking about people from the British Isle, but they're just families, and those families that were Scots Irish, that they were the more who hated the crown, that they were very resistant to any sort of centralized bureaucracy or force or whatever,
Mhm.
and so they like to live, without the government. And then
Oh,
in that Southern culture, if you read like Malcolm Gladwell book, I think it's like Outliers, he talks about how like down in the South, like you can't, like if you like someone disrespects you, you have to fight them. You don't even go to the law. You don't even bring the police into it. You handle it yourself.
Wow. You just
And that's
handle it.
that's the way. That was the culture down there.
Wow.
It's very big on respect. You can't disrespect someone. If someone disrespects you, you have to stand up for yourself. So it's a constant. It definitely hardens you a little bit, But I'm still unlearning a lot of the things that I grew up on. So
Do you feel like it helped you become a more critical thinker instead of just like knowing that it was up to you? to
yeah,
handle it?
I think that culture down there, which is resistant to being told what to do, probably helps me a little bit with that.
Mhm.
I think anybody who came here, our genetics is predisposition to that because we came here for religious freedom or for political freedom.
Mhm.
And but I mean, there's things about. I mean, you have good genes. Like you have as good a gene. Like I actually have really good genes for the South. I think I'm pretty intelligent. My brother's an aerospace engineer. I got a cousin who's an aerospace engineer. I'm was a football coach and a teacher, but I've got a great mind and I've got a good ability to withstand pain and also just connect with people. So I've got like, I think I'm like top tier genetics. But the people of Utah, the LDS, are much more smarter than not just the South, but across the country. But they're a group of people that came here because it was so hard to make this land work that only the most resourceful could do it, and then the most resourceful men had the most kids. So it was hard to come here in the first place, and then the ones who could make it, they were the ones who had children. So then it leveled up, it raised the gene pool for everybody. So it's a constant raising. It's like eugenics in real time is what Utah has for like the European race here. And people don't understand that, but I see it because I've lived in 10 states, so I know it. You know,
yeah, just different experiences create different. Yeah,
it's that English. It's that English, like that English background. Because like you go to like Vermont, and the people are like Irish, and they look weird. Like they're like they don't they don't like they smoke, and they're like if you ever go to West Virginia or something, it's like the it's like a in Vermont, it's just a different type of genetic code of people. Like the families were not as tough and strong as the ones here. It took a smarter, more intelligent person to be here to survive in the early days of Utah, and then they had the most kids. The great thing about, the great thing about like any sort of, I guess you'd say, polygamy is that the most resourceful, smartest people have the most kids. So if you practice that, you actually advance the genetics of a place, because otherwise you don't. Like the concept of like one man and one woman is a modern day concept, and it's actually so here's what's so crazy, it's a modern day concept, and voluntarily women don't even do it. And I know this because I've dated multiple women, and a lot of women are okay with dating a man who might be dating other women. That's just what they do. They don't care, because in their mind they're like, well, at least this person's, I mean, honestly, is a competent person and not a loser. And so that's a whole thing. But I say that to say, like, if you went back years and years ago, like centuries ago, that was the natural state of things, is one man. Like 80% of women who have ever lived have reproduced. Only like less than 40% of men have. So there's a natural inclination for women to be the gatekeepers of who procreates. So women have always, that's what, in my opinion, I know we may disagree, but at least all the information I know now, what took us from like some little, amphibian thing, and to some little marsupial, to some little primitive ape-like being, to modern day humans, is the most productive male kept reproducing with female. And over time, it raised the IQ of everything. That's what evolution shows you over time. That's what our human race did, especially when things were hard. When life was hard, it meant more to be resourceful. If you look at the Jewish community, the Ashkenazi Jews, they were targeted in Europe, and only the smartest Jews could survive. And that's why the Ashkenazi Jew has such a high IQ compared to the average person, because only the smartest could survive. So because of that, nature selected for the smartest people. And here in Utah, this was one of the last few places that practiced that. But if you go anywhere around the country, and people don't understand this, and last time I made this comment, I did it with January Walker, she's a influencer here, and the clip got like 40,000 views, and people were like, oh, that's not true. I can look at Utah's IQ. It's like, guys, I'm talking about Europeans. Europeans in Utah have a higher IQ than Europeans in Massachusetts. Massachusetts and New Hampshire have a different demographic. So when you extrapolate that out, you see Utah has the highest demographic. It's because of the people who came over here. They're of like a high English stock, and basically one man would have many children. And because of that, over time, because the most resourceful men would have children, it created this natural intelligence, and the women who are attractive were like naturally selected by the men. So like that's why Utah, there's a meme online that says that the Utah 7 is like a 10 in other places. And it's kind of true. Yeah, it's, we're like because the competition here is so, like, for women, you guys have it hard. The competition, within like mainstream Utah is like people are freaking like women. It's the highest per capita plastic surgery rate in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very competitive here.
Very much.
You know, and so it's a different world. But the average person here is just very intelligent. It's very interesting. I mean, but then I meet people too here that aren't that like. It's like the modern construct of one man, one woman was something that society did recently, and what happened was because women weren't naturally selecting for the highest mate, it made the IQ of the population of the world go down.
Mm-hmm.
So like in the United States, because we did the whole one man, one woman, because men just automatically had a wife without having to show that they were resourceful. Now people aren't getting married, and women have voluntarily opted out of that arrangement. They actually hate that arrangement, and they're back to dating one dude who's probably seeing multiple women, which is the craziest thing. But because the natural state of people is for one woman to date a man who's probably, because it's just the natural thing. That's what evolved us, in my opinion. So because we have that natural urge, we're always like that.
Right.
Just like my mom, when she saw my father, dated my father, my dad had good genes. There was something that like could complement her. Resourcefulness, intelligence, resilience. I have those traits from my dad. My dad has good genes, bigger guys, you know what I mean? And so although she did care about his kindness and his warmth and all that, I think she did, but she also could see someone, if I have a kid with this person,
right,
will this person be able to have women or whatever, be able to mate with them? I know it sounds, but it's true. Like in her subconscious, he's like, will he be someone who can procure resources, like, and be a competent person in the world, and who would have grandchildren? And so that's a very important. There's a theory in evolution which if you, but it's basically, that's why there's a lot there. But I went on
a lot of the species in the animal kingdom still do it. The elephants still do that. So, but and it's interesting because I think that the pioneers and the people that came over here and did go through a lot of those hardships and live plural marriage and all those things, it created a lot of intelligence.
Yes.
Because
it had to.
Because you figured out how to make things work.
Exactly.
You didn't have it all soft and cushy all the time. And so it stretched your mind.
Right.
As things physically can become harder, and especially things that go against our human nature sometimes, then it stretches our mind to become more resourceful.
Right. So it's both. It's probably a natural predisposition coupled with a resilience, a growth mindset to keep going out of necessity. Right. And then those things steamroll together. And that's how you have Utah, which was basically a pioneer state, was by itself. Utah should have just stayed by itself. If I'd have been here in Utah, I'd have been advocating, do not even join the United States. It's just going to go downhill from here. Yeah. But they wanted that states' rights. And now they're like, okay, well, you have to get rid of plural marriages, as you say. And then by doing that, the church then banned it. And they're like, the churches are interesting, not just the LDS church, but like the churches that were like shut down during COVID. It's like, dude, if you really believe that stuff, you ought to be willing to die for it. So I'm not religious, you know that. So, but if I was religious with my conscientiousness, I would go down in flames with it. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if I really believed something, like if I believe in freedom, or if I will not let anybody talk about like free markets or talk about how socialism's good. I can't be in that space. I have to say something, because collectivism is the biggest threat we have. Collectivism, socialism,
totally.
which takes away the individual. It crushes the spirit. It crushes the ingenuity, the creativity of human life.
Totally. Yeah.
And so I can't be in that space. I don't care where I'm at. I don't care if I get fired. It's cost me jobs before. I don't even care. I'm like, the person I'm becoming is the cool part. Plus, I'd rather live, in the words of Benito Mussolini, one day as a lion than 100 years as a sheep. So I'm willing to go all in. I'm willing to do it. I got that flip, and I got that switch I can flip.
Right.
And so because of that, I would be conscientious. If they tried to shut my church down, I would be like willing to go to jail for it. If I really believed it. I'm not religious. I don't believe in it. So it wasn't a hill I was willing to die for. But I didn't take the vaccine, no matter what people pressured me to do. I didn't wear a mask. And at least overall, I did not wear a mask. I was getting treated at the Huntsman Cancer Institute. This was 2022. They were still having mask mandates on. I refused to wear it, and they had security come and talk to me and tell me why I should do it. And they didn't even have any like power over you. They couldn't even do anything. I'm like, guys, I'm not even talking to you. Have a great day.
Right.
But I like that kind of stuff because it makes me emotionally resilient too. I'm willing to go all the way to like push against things and stuff. It's kind of fun to me.
Yeah.
I've got a little rebellion in me, a little rebellious side because it's in my blood, and
yeah.
plus it's just
Totally.
your spirit is worth more than anything. Don't let someone cuss you out or beat you down or do that. Stand up for yourself. You'd rather have the consequences of something that is not a connection than let your spirit get crushed by not being in alignment with who you are in your essence.
I agree 1,000%.
Mhm.
And that's what America was founded on.
Mm-hmm.
So when America was founded, the most popular book in the 1760s was the Bible.
Hmm.
And those people back then, they understood, at least the Americans and the people in the colonies understood that our rights did not come from man.
Right.
They came from God.
Mhm.
So we just had them because we were
Inherent
born.
self-rights, which was we were the first people. John Lott and those guys were the first people to write about that. How the rights come from, they're self-evident from the Creator, not from other people. And now, and this is a new thing. The norm has been collectivism. Freedom has been rare through human history, and now we're going back toward it. And whenever it devolves into socialism, always devolves into a few people dominating over everybody else. No matter what it's supposed to be, it always absorbs into that.
Yeah.
We should probably go because you're awesome. Anything you'd like to add?
No, thank you for this. You got
Oh,
a
you're
strong
awesome.
arm. You got a
Oh,
good
that was-
grip.
I'm not that violent.
Sorry.
I do have a strong. It's genetics. It's genetic. Have you ever seen my calf muscles?
No, I've never seen your calf
I don't
muscles.
want to. Well, I've got.
In all the time we've known each other, I've never seen your calf muscles.
They're there, and it's pure genetics. I don't.
Awesome.
But you're awesome. And
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
You're welcome.
So,
Peace.
thanks.
Bye, guys.
That was great.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thanks, Taylor.
You're welcome.
I apologize for being late today.
We're out. Sorry, man. I appreciate your energy, sir.